This game has been rated PEGI 16 or M for mature for a reason. You have been warned. Otherwise, make yourself comfortable and let's begin, shall we? Senran Kagura. Where to begin? It's a niche Japanese franchise, which has spawned a game division based on the events from their respective manga and anime. It consists of a female-only cast of young ninjas or shinobi, following them around on missions and battles in the hopes to someday become fully fledged shinobi. The universe consists of both good and evil shinobi. Despite their differences and conflicts in the heat of assigned missions, the two groups sometimes come together, setting aside their differences in favour of rivalry and even friendship. That's pretty much the outline premise of the whole series. What really makes this series stand out is the Japanese side effects of having a young female dominant cast of characters. The Senran Kagura games are developed by Tamsoft and published by Marvelous, a company which focuses on releasing titles for 3DS, PlayStation 4, PS Vita and Steam. If you were playing this game, chances are you've seen the box art, and if you were still offended by this game's content after picking this up and buying this game, then you've made a very poor choice of purchase. Though if you have a problem with the game itself, you're wasting your time, you're tampering with artistic expression. That's not even a C cup in Japan. I didn't make this game. You could turn to the classic, "This is why we can't have nice things." Or perhaps the sophisticated response of, "I'm not listening." Who's not listening? That would be in Denton, but you can call me Dan. I do actually listen to you because I respect all of your opinions, for I am a mature individual. I've become open-minded with the world, so that's why regardless of its nature, any and all games are given a chance to prove their significance in game design. I'm playing the latest release on PlayStation 4, titled Senran Kagura Estival Versus. I was going to be looking at the original game on 3DS, but I had no practical way to capture footage from the 3DS, so I'm going to be making comparisons here and there. To save any confusion, I'll flash this on screen whenever I'm talking about Senran Kagura Burst. So bear that in mind. The PlayStation 4 and PS Vita games have you running around 3D environments with full camera controls. The game is comparable to the fast-paced one-man army style of Dynasty Warriors. Your objective usually consists of defeating other characters, defeating hordes of NPCs, and perhaps a time limit thrown into the mix. Now, how do you play the game? You have a light and heavy attack, which can be linked together to perform different combos. You can also dash and sprint. At the end of some combos, you'll launch your target into the air. You can then dash to hightail towards them to extend your onslaught. The series refers to this maneuver as an aerial rave. Now, Shinobi Versus, the PS Vita game, introduced blocking. If you time a block just right, you can knock back with a parry. The game has some distinct special effects to signify when these two mechanics have been activated. As you attack opponents, your hit counter will build up. I recommend trying to cover big groups of enemies at once. Now, here's where things get interesting. Each character can switch into their shinobi clothing, which will change various aspects. It'll change the combo tree of most characters. It's using the same green ring effect to show you that this combo will initiate an aerial rave. Visual association without a word being said. That's good game design. Successive attacks will charge your ninja art gauge. Once the meter fills, it resets, and you attain a scroll which can then be used to perform ninja art attacks. The way these attacks hit vary between character. Some will assault forward, cover a radius, or launch a projectile. You can unlock an even stronger super secret ninja art, which lets your character enter a super state. You can also enter frantic mode, which involves your character stripping down to her underwear. Because of course you can do that. You can use your ninja arts, you get a huge attack boost alongside a major defense drop. To summarize, you can complete missions in 3 separate modes. These meters will fill up depending on which modes you've been using throughout missions. Each segment you fill up will unlock passives for that mode. There are 25 playable characters from the start, with 3 unlockable characters who are featured within the story, and 4 characters available as downloadable content, with an extra 3 DLC characters being released in Europe and the US soon. Some of these characters have vastly different methods of attack, so as you would expect, some of them handle fairly differently. Characters like Asuka and Homura are good all-round characters to play as, fast attackers with straightforward ninja art attacks. Kafuru and Mirai are projectile-based fighters, so it might be worthwhile to keep a short distance away from your targets. Then you come across characters like Yomi and Hanabi, who wield pretty heavy weapons and therefore have a much slower attack rate. They'll require a bit more patience and precision than other characters. Ooh, oh, that looked like it hurt. Hey, Esti, so, why did you show that to me? Well, this is one of the game's many creative finishes. Each stage has one or several landmarks of which, if you can KO a character within its proximity, you'll get an alternative and more entertaining scene towards their demise. Here's a cherry picking of some of my favourites. After you activate these scenes, you unlock them in the shop, and you can throw any character you wish under the proverbial bus. Despite Ikaruga's lightning-quick animations, once she finishes up her combo, she sheaths her sword. Seeing the speed of her attacks, this is a generously long animation. This would without a doubt stop Ikaruga from building up a high combo. That would be the case if Tamsoft didn't implement one particular mechanic into the game: cancelling, or technically speaking, animation cancelling. For those of you who aren't familiar, cancelling refers to when an executed action is ended prematurely in order to move on to successive actions quicker than normal. It's a term commonly brought up in fighting and action games. Of course, only certain moves would be programmed to allow this. In Senran Kagura Burst, cancelling is especially important for Yomi, since Yomi has the slowest rate of attack. The use of cancelling allows you to compensate for her slow startup. In Estival Versus, cancelling is a mechanic which can be taken advantage of by all characters, in order to build up a hit count and avoid enemy attacks, coming together to help you achieve success. A high rank will grant extra experience to gradually increase each character's stats. Leveling up each character will also unlock new combos. Now these stats, hit points, attack, defense, simple enough, right? Well, the characters have a bit of a hidden value, so to speak. It just so happens to control the trademark feature of the Senran Kagura franchise. In SK Burst, we had an extra stat called Endurance. The Endurance stat determines the amount of damage a character can take before their outfit gets damaged. And I'm not talking about small scuffs or tears either. Their outfits really get torn to shreds. Occasionally you'll get these dynamic knockback shots to let you know that's happening. So this is where Tamsoft starts showing off their talents. Though if the character is about to pass through multiple stages of outfit damage, the game will skip the knockback shots entirely. From my experience, getting caught in these rebound attacks also deals heavy damage to clothing endurance. Hello? Game? Apparently the game doesn't like being suspended sometimes. You can unlock side missions which are accompanied by short stories based on the escapades of each character. For the most part, you're going to miss most of the dialogue since the subtitles are pretty small and you're kind of playing an action game. If you get the chance, then it does present some amusing ramblings between the cast. The game comes complete with full Japanese voiceover, so we're stuck with subtitles throughout the entire experience. The voice acting seems to be well cast, matching each girl's characteristics and personality. Nonetheless, that won't stop some of the voices coming off as irritating. My gripe is with some of the newer characters. Hibari and Minori seem quite similar. Hibari is clumsy but lovable, while Minori is carefree to the point of blind stupidity. Ryona is a huge masochist with an irritating voice to match, which makes for a perfectly tropey and inhuman vessel of a character. Murasaki is a self-proclaimed shut-in, with very low self-esteem. That is until her doll Bebe gives her a pep talk. Murakumo lives life as some kind of masquerading vigilante. That is until she's socially crippled when stripped of her mask. In Burst, your selected character would narrate you whenever you picked an option, but no subtitles were provided, so they could have been talking nonsense for all I could tell. It's a cute feature, but kind of loses value without being able to understand them. The guide feature returns in Estival Versus, and was implemented stronger than ever, complete with subtitles. Now, regardless of which character you have selected to play as, you can select any other character as your guide. There's a lot of dialogue per character, with custom lines to match their respective personality.
なんだか無性に歌が歌いたくなりましたわ。
Can I sing a song for you? When the...
This is a good result!
I did a little research into the voice actresses involved to see if I recognised any of the roles, but seeing as they're all Japanese voice actresses, I imagine I wouldn't find anything of interest. Hold on there, love. Am I reading this correctly? To clarify, that's the same infamous voice across all versions of Ocarina of Time. Kaori Mizuhashi was actually speaking English. Of all voice roles to stumble across, Yagyu was destined to guide players.
Watch out!
I must calm myself and recall the sacred words of Yagyu. That's a good advice. There you go, I killed Renka. She died at the hands of one of those giant body pillow things. What else is there for me to babble about? You can use the dressing room to change each character's outfit. At first, it looks like you have a lot of options, until you realise that they just let you select the outfits of every other character. Messing around with the feature will no doubt highlight the importance of colour matching and complementary colours in character design. Of course, the outfits haven't been designed with the hairstyles in mind either, so you'll get stupid visual errors like this. You unlock extra outfits and accessories by completing missions. Wait, that's not right. You unlock outfits and accessories for purchase through the in-game shop. So you'll have to mosey on over to the shop, purchase the item, and then move on over to the dressing room or library. In Burst, you simply unlock items and you can go straight to the dressing room and check it out, instead of fusing some middleman or woman into the process. The soundtrack is in a league of its own. You've actually been listening to a mix of Estival Versus and Burst music, since I believe they're both equally top-notch stuff. But where do you think you're going? I'm not ending this design section with good music is good design, this game's alright, 10 out of 10. Next episode's Ape Escape. Games with good music are just far too common to acknowledge as a standalone aspect of game design. Unless we're using music and sound design as a recurring element of feedback, like a rhythm game, then soundtracks don't really qualify as game design. But that's where Tamsoft went the extra mile. This is the library feature. You can view a bunch of the game's content, such as videos, illustrations, voice clips, terminology, and character player statistics.
この結果、感無量です。
Ikaruga even reacted to being the most played so far. Characters will only react like this if they are at the top.
これが私の限界なのかな?
Mirai's really down for being joint second. Then last but not least, the music. I'm going to shut my trap for a bit and let you have a listen to a couple of samples, accompanied with a little something extra. What you just witnessed are composer comments. Every single track in the game has a specialized description left by the composers. This same feature appeared in Senran Kagura Burst. Honestly, I was pleasantly surprised to find them. They've produced tracks for each character which will play once you transform or you're fighting against them. It's assuring to know that each track was produced with great musical prowess rather than just getting lucky. Unlike games with great soundtracks, I can't think of any games that have featured composer comments like this. There has to be a couple of games out there that have done this before. This is like indie game on a personal level kind of feature. Oh, also, Gessen Team's tracks are based on famous classical compositions, so if you're studying classical music, you may be interested in checking these out. Now, I'll stand by and say this element would be lumped into polish, but it's certainly a unique type of polish. I've gone out of my way to avoid talking much about the game's other features, yet I still voluntarily produced a design section for Senran Kagura because of what I discovered. If you don't care for this game, I get it. It's not for everyone, and it won't let you forget that either. I think the game got a bit confused there. It really doesn't like being suspended in gravity. 3 years. It's taken me 3 years to finish a video based on this series. This video was rescripted and redrafted like 3-4 times. This game. Don't expect these types of games to show up too much on DesignSection. Comments and feedback always cheer me up. This game was quite a barrage of content, so you may want to have your say. I was joking in the video, but Ape Escape is next, and that's a stark contrast. I'm off now. Bye!